Ole Miss was on everyone's mind at SEC Media Days, but that's not for the reason you think.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Steven Willis, and we will bring in Tom Vanderford to get his perspective in just a second on SEC Media Days and fall camp, which is rapidly approaching. It's just a little over a week away, I do believe. Anyway, thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen every day, and please give us a like, subscribe, and comment on your way out. It costs absolutely nothing. Helps the show out a little bit, though. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So, Tom, really interesting stuff. Ole Miss put on a master class at SEC Media Days, but it seemed like other hosts, especially in my sphere, they just couldn't get Lane Kiffin's name out of their mouth.
He's something else, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's the best. He's the best troll on the planet.
Yeah, him calling the game at Mississippi State a ninth home game.
Yeah,
I'm still chuckling at that.
Oh yeah. You know, that was a big dig to Levy for sure. But you know, it seems to me that Mississippi State has decided to go all in on baseball and not really concentrate on football. I don't know if you'd say they're giving up, but I think we are more well-rounded with our NIL as far as, you know, all the sports. I credit Walker for that as well as Keith. But yeah, I love it. I love how he was busted on Hugh Freeze. I thought it was wonderful. So
that felt personal. It just feels personal when he goes after Hugh. I don't know what Hugh did. I don't know the story there, but I would love to hear some backstory on that.
Oh yeah, I would too. It would be interesting. But yeah, there's obviously no love lost there. So, you know, that's interesting.
Yeah, and the players, Austin Simmons, looked like this is the third year in a row he's been to SEC Media Days. He handled it like an absolute champ. We all assumed that he would, but I was very impressed by Austin, TJ Daugherty, and Caden Lee at SEC Media Days.
Oh yeah, they picked three good ones. I think you and I got pretty close to who we were hoping to expect there. But yeah, Austin Simmons, man, is going to be really good before he leaves Ole Miss, I think, barring injury, of course.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you look at, and he has all of the tools that you're looking for a quarterback, literally every one. When it comes to arm strength, to height, to mobility, everything that makes a modern quarterback, he has that at his disposal. But then when you include the fact that his mind works in a similar way to what Peyton Manning had, and those guys, the sky really is the limit. If it ever clicks in, we'll see what happens and how long it takes during the season. But when it clicks in, it's going to be something to see.
Oh, definitely. You know, I had a person that I work with. He goes, "What y'all's new quarterback going to be like?" I said, "Well, I think he's still 19 years old and he's already working on his master's degree."
Yeah.
You know? Brilliant.
He's a graduate student. It's like nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And good family too. You know, I've talked with his dad a few times, and it's just a good family. They're just driven, and they kind of perform a little bit differently.
Yeah.
And people that don't do the type of stuff that Austin has the advantages of having at this point in his life, it's not a crime to be driven. It's not a crime to be passionate. It's not a crime to be goal-oriented.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's one of those weird things. And in this sphere, especially in the age of social media, the first thing they want to do is to try and break down. One of the weirdest things that are going on right now. I went and saw Superman on Saturday for the second time.
Good stuff.
And yeah, it's an excellent movie. It's a wonderful movie. But there's a group of trolls on the internet, and they're loud. They're not necessarily numerous, but they are loud, talking about how Zack Snyder's DC universe is better than everything about this. And they're just trying to trash this movie over and over again. And it's just funny because I deal with a much smaller little bit with that on my show. But it's just weird looking at social media and how it is perceived in the open, how people want it out there to publicly view their stance on something. It's just weird.
It is, and it's that way across all spectrums. You know, it could be the best tool there is, and it can be, absolute poison at the same time. So you have to really, really be thick-skinned to be in a position as yours or as anyone with any following. Because people are gonna be haters, man.
Oh, they definitely are. I think whenever I started doing this, and I think I got on with Locked On right before the 2022 year, so in like November of that year. But Twitter was the number one marketing tool for the media, for anybody that does something like this. In just 3 years, it is down at number 6.
Oh, yeah.
And that isn't a political shot at all or anything like that. It's just showing how quickly the trolls and the bots have taken over that platform and ran people off.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, in the world of social media, they're almost like a plague of locusts. They go in and consume a platform and then they move to the next one.
Yeah, the benefit is whenever they start doing it, if you just let them air out, just get off social media if you can for a little bit, they don't have the attention span to stick around. So it'll be a bad day.
That's true.
So something like that. Anyway, when we come back, we'll talk to Tom about what he wants to see in fall camp and the players that are under the radar for Tom going into this season. So stick around for that. But first of all, I do want to tell you about Monarch Money. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether growing your savings or planning for a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also able to build wealth. The first thing I noticed after joining Monarch way back when was that I was wasting a ton of money eating out, going to Olive Garden or doing DoorDash or Uber Eats and all of that, and actually able to see that amount come in on Monarch Money. I was able to clean that up. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Now, it's really interesting stuff. We're about a week and a half away from fall camp, and that is fantastic. You're going to hear people argue, and they do it this time every year, that if you're having camp in August, it can't be fall camp. The camp isn't for August. The camp is for what is going to happen in the fall. That's the reason they call it fall camp. It's about the games and everything that's happening in the autumn, and you're having a camp for that. That's just a pet peeve of mine. So, looking at what you want to see, Tom, going into fall camp, what are the top things that are on your mind?
Well, it all starts with the lines, the defensive line, the offensive line. That's where, the money's made, so to speak. I think our offensive line will get tested quite often during fall camp because I think that we're going to have, nobody's going to agree with me, but that's fine. I think we're going to have just a good defensive line as we had last year.
They said the drop-off, Pete Golding said, and his opinion is the one that matters. He said the drop-off was not big from last year to this year, and that's because of the Jam Brown and the William Eccles, and just laundry list of players of the year in the state of Mississippi.
Exactly. So, I'm really looking forward to how that battle shapes up, because that'll show me what the SEC is going to be like. And of course, the secondary. We've got a lot of transfers in the secondary. We got Graves came back and some other folks, but I want to see who steps forward. I want to see how that depth chart works for the secondary, because I think that the secondary is probably our biggest weakness. And I don't think it's going to be a weakness. I just think compared to every other group on the team, and getting into special teams, we've got a fantastic kicker. We lucked out and got him. We've got one of those Australian punters, so hopefully that's good too. But
there's a picture of Bird online in his Australian rules football uniform. So just what you see, it looks like a 1980s style sleeveless shirt. But yeah, he was there doing that. But he's another guy like Ole Miss has had over the last, 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
They're just another Aussie.
Yeah, and that's groovy. I want to see how the depth goes at running back. I mean, we've got a lot of backs, but I want to see who's going to be the starter, and will we have running back by committee? We've got so many good backs in that backfield, and I want to see the tight end competition between the tight ends that we have.
Really interesting stuff. I think it was TJ Oxley put a tweet out on X, and there was a picture of Kewan Lacy running the football. It was just an 11-yard run or something like that for a touchdown, but you saw elite level contact balance. You saw extreme speed. You saw the full package. And then you have somebody like Logan Diggs, who Ole Miss, if they would have had a healthy Logan Diggs a year ago, they would have been playing in the college football playoff.
I completely agree.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I think those two are just write them in an ink. And then you have Damien Thomas, the running back that transferred from Troy, which I'm holding a little bit of a wait and see attitude on him because of what happened with Rashad Amos a year ago.
Exactly.
And also Shekai Mills-Knight, the true freshman bruiser that has all the chance in the world. I think they want a 3-man rotation that looks like the 2020 or 2021 season. The question is, fall camp's going to determine who those 3 are. Is it Shekai Mills-Knight? Is it Damien Thomas? Because I think Kewan Lacy and Logan Diggs are going to be in there.
Oh, I completely agree. And I've said this before, but when I see Mills-Knight, I see Deuce McAllister.
Okay. I had the Florida football scout, Brian Smith, the Locked On's recruiting expert on the show, and it's like, which player does he remind you of? He actually said Quinshon Judkins. There's a lot of Quinshon to his game. And if he runs the ball like Quinshon Judkins, you can be mad at how everything ended up. You can't really be mad about how it began. And the way it began was something pretty special. If he can recreate that, he's definitely going to be the third back. And listen, Kewan Lacy and Shekai Mills-Knight has a chance to be the thunder and lightning of running backs that Lane Kiffin has been trying to put together ever since he got to Ole Miss.
I agree.
But Shekai Mills-Knight needs to pick up the system. He needs to do all that. Kewan Lacy needs to hold on to the football, needs to pass protect pretty well. If there's some questions that need to be answered, only contact will basically answer those questions for us.
Exactly. That's just like Q's freshman year, Ashanti Sistrunk's like, man, he's a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you knew it, he was playing a lot at running back his freshman year. So
we talked about some names earlier on in this podcast. Who are some players that you're looking for in fall camp that might be under the radar that we're not talking about? Obviously, Austin Simmons, and we talked about the running backs. What are some under the radar players that have your attention?
Well, I want to see how Penn State's transfer wide receiver does with a good quarterback.
Yeah, Harrison Wallace III.
Yeah. I want to see how he does with a good quarterback. I never was sold on Drew Allar, and the kid got nearly 1,000 yards with Drew, so I'm excited to see what he can do for us. I want to see how Ham does at receiver. I think he's a superstar in waiting. That's something I want to see. And as far as, people that are under the radar, I've heard a lot of stuff about some of our DB transfers. I want to see, and I'm sorry my brain's not working perfectly today, but I want to see the South Alabama transfer.
Ricky Fletcher.
Yeah, I want to see how he does. I think he can help us tremendously. We got a safety transfer in from Houston. Isn't that correct?
I think it was from Louisiana Monroe. You're talking about
Monroe. I want to see how he does now.
Yeah, he was at Delta State 2 years ago.
Yeah, you never know.
That's an amazing rise. So I'm curious about that. I want to see if Sage Ryan can put the negativity behind him at LSU.
To say, Sage Ryan, the big LSU guy, if you talk to LSU people, they say he was a waste. But you never know.
Their defense made Harold Perkins look like a waste. I want to see whenever a defensive coordinator that knows what he's doing gets his hands on a player that was recruited for a specific purpose and he's put in to do that purpose. I want to see what that looks like. If he doesn't do it against Georgia State, Kentucky, or Arkansas, yes, I will start calling for Kewan Young or let's just get young and talented in the back end of that defense.
Exactly. Get the young people, right. But, you also have the kid from Auburn. I don't know what kind
Antonio Kite.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of, piece he's going to be, but, we just got to wait and see for that secondary. There's some under the radar guys that we talked about. There's some guys that should have been better in the systems they were in. So it's all going to come down to coaching. And, Corinth Olin B. Brown is a secondary coach.
Yeah, he usually figures it out. He's pretty good back there.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Believe it or not, let's see. In 2004, I was at the Ole Miss Tennessee game. I was at every Ole Miss game in 2004. But Ole Miss played Tennessee that year. That was the year after Eli. And honestly, Ole Miss didn't play particularly well because they had problems at quarterback. But that game was tight, and it was picked off. It was set up by a pickoff by B. Brown, and he took it to the house for a touchdown. Gave us a little bit of hope. That was the night that drunk Tennessee fans were chanting, "It's great to be a Tennessee ball" on the way out of the stadium.
Oh, God bless him. Yeah. He's a special kid. I know he's not a kid anymore, but he's a special guy.
Yeah, he's probably about 10 years younger than I am, honestly.
Yeah.
But it should be really interesting. What do you got going on this weekend, bud?
Oh, man, just going to lay back and relax, spend some time with the grandkids. Good old pawpaw stuff.
Hey, nothing to complain about that. Anyway, thank you very much, Tom, for coming on the show, and we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Yes, sir. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. All right, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your go-to source for Ole Miss sports. We pride ourselves on offering the most comprehensive perspectives, which is why we're the front door of Ole Miss. If you don't believe me, go to Google and search Ole Miss podcast and see how much we come up on that page. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It helps the show out a ton, and it is completely free. Your support means the world to us. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes around college football's landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hotty toddy, everybody. And remember, analytics is just the old English word that means bad football. We'll see you tomorrow.